Just like many high-performance, fast-moving, incredibly complicated pieces of technology, this week, Click is being made in Taiwan. This week, we'll look at the threat from the mighty dragon next door, China. Can Taiwan continue to compete with the massive technology superpower it has for a neighbour? We'll talk to the companies that are trying to make a name for themselves around the world, and we'll take a look at some of the cool kit on sale round these parts. All that plus an essential guide to breathing new life into your VHS tapes, and the very best of the web in Webscape. Welcome to Click. I'm Spencer Kelly, and welcome to Taipei in Taiwan. This is the Xintian Temple, and although there are loads of temples all over Taiwan, this one in particular is where people come to pray for success in business. Well, for the past 40 years or so, Taiwan's business has certainly been booming. But for how much longer? Sitting just off the east coast of China, tiny Taiwan has long overshadowed its big brother in the manufacturing game. But the world of consumer electronics moves fast. China is now on its way to becoming the planet's biggest economy, the world's biggest producer of consumer electronics. So far, Taiwan has held its own. So, to get a closer look, we boarded Click's custom 80s throwback transportation, headed south and east from London across 2 continents to see how much this island has left to give. Taiwan has long been the technological workshop of Southeast Asia, producing vast amounts of electronics. If it's got a chip in it, the chances are it was born in a factory somewhere on this island. In fact, 90% of the world's laptops are manufactured by Taiwanese companies. That's no mean feat for a place with just 23 million people. Having a neighbour like the People's Republic of China, which is capable of producing enormous quantities of goods at bargain basement prices, is very handy. Taiwanese companies have certainly taken advantage of the favourable manufacturing conditions.
So 40 years ago, Taiwan manufacturing for US companies, Japanese companies. But now, because manufacturing cannot compete with China, so the production has been moved to China. So now, in Taiwan, we need to focus more on R&D, on ID design to compete with the other rivals.
Using the infrastructure and experience gained from years of high-tech manufacture, Taiwanese tech giants are no longer simply bolting together components and devices for foreign companies. These outfits are now focusing on creating products under their own banners.
Acer used to be a manufacturer in Taiwan. We manufactured the PC for IBM before. What we were doing is actually during the manufacturing process, we actually learned a lot. For Taiwanese companies, 2 approaches, right? One, you go for the global manufacturing, actually is the provider. The other one, you go for the branding business.
But it's not as easy as just slapping a badge on a bit of kit and hoping it flies off the shelves. In order to compete in the high-tech market, you can't just emulate existing market-leading products. You may very well have to create a whole new market entirely.
Acer's founder, Stan Shi, created the concept of the smile curve 20 years ago. He said innovation and branding are at the 2 highest points of the curve, making the most profit. But manufacturing is at the bottom of the curve. Taiwan is currently at the bottom of the curve. To increase Taiwanese companies' profits, we need to focus on innovating and branding. HTC's smart mobile phones and Asus's ePC laptops are good examples of what Taiwanese companies need to do in the future so they can smile.
The last year has seen an explosion in the netbook market. Small, cheap, sub-notebooks. The hype that was started by the one laptop per child program has helped propel these little laptops into the mainstream. Leading the pack, the Asus EE Book, originally running the Linux or Windows XP operating systems. Acer is now rolling out its Aspire One, and US computing giant Dell has launched the Dell Inspiron Mini. And now that netbooks have carved out a niche in the market, the time has come to inject a bit of style into these diminutive devices.
Now, this is the computer industry's equivalent of a Paris couturier. It's where a PC comes to get fitted with this season's posh frock.
Taiwanese brands are determined to create brand identity through desirably designed products. Case in point is the recently launched slimline EE S101. Let's see, 10-inch screen, check. Solid-state drive, check. £449 price tag. Whoa, where did that come from? And it's not just pricey netbooks which are leading the branding charge. How about laptops made from unusual materials?
Critics of the computer industry's green credentials say that the manufacture of PCs is about as eco-friendly as waging a small war. And certainly a lot of plastics, metals, toxins and, well, energy goes into churning these beasts out. Well, this company says it's doing its bit for the planet by making its machines out of bamboo.
Yep, odd, I know, but bamboo is a fast-growing grass, and it's been argued that as soon as you cut some down, more grows in its place. 200 of these grass-based gadgets will be produced to test consumer reaction to the concept. The bamboo's eco-sentiments might be considered a bit of a gimmick, but Taiwanese manufacturers are deadly serious about creating brands with global appeal. From chic laptops and netbooks to frightening and futuristic desktops, computer companies from this corner of the world are taking on Western and Japanese brands on their own terms. Take this, an extension of the EE brand into desktop computing. This is the E-Top, due for release in the UK next month. It's a low-cost, low-power desktop machine. The computer's built into the back of the screen, and get this, the screen itself sports touch. All in a fashionable white. That's white with a hint of apple, methinks.
If you've got a big lap, then you need a big laptop, don't you? And this, quite honestly, is a beast. 18-inch high-definition screen, built-in Blu-ray player, virtual 5.1 surround sound. What that means is as you sit back from it, it does simulate a complete surround sound experience, like those sound bars that we've seen for several years now. And you have separate controls for your media over here to the left of the keyboard.
So, the manufacturing base is already in place, and Taiwanese products already permeate every part of the tech landscape. And if the efforts of manufacturers like Acer and Asus pay off, the stamp Made in Taiwan could take on a whole new aspirational meaning.
And there's more from Taiwan's tech scene in a few minutes. First, the latest tech news from around the world.
Big Brother really is watching you surf the web in Beijing's internet cafes. Every user visiting a web cafe in China's capital will have their photograph taken in a new move to exert more government control over Chinese citizens' use of the internet. This news crushes hopes raised during the Olympic Games that the Chinese government would relax public use of the web. The scheme will be introduced in mid-December. More woes for Sony's beleaguered PlayStation 3 console this week, with the delayed release of much-anticipated multiplayer platformer Little Big Planet. The hold-up is a result of Sony deciding to remove a piece of background music from the game. This track included 2 expressions from the Quran. Fearing this may cause offence to Muslims, the game's been recalled. New discs are being made, and the game will launch 12 days later than planned. Finally, a common annoyance, cold calls to landline telephones could soon be a thing of the past, thanks to a new gizmo developed by 2 British ex-telesalesmen. The TrueCall device plugs into a landline socket and screens calls for numbers of telemarketers or nuisance callers stored in a so-called ZAP list. The box intercepts and prevents these calls getting through to the user. Time to leave those cold callers hanging on the telephone.
Here in Southeast Asia, you really do get a sense that the boundaries of technology are being pushed back. And every few years, a whole technology seems to go obsolete, pushed aside by something newer and better. Take video, for example, VHS, slaughtered at the hands of DVD, which is fine, apart from the fact that you may very well have a load of old VHS tapes that you'd really rather carry on watching. If that's the case, here's Click's essential guide to getting your video into a digital format.
It's been a long time since VHS was the format of choice for preserving treasured memories. Now most of those old tapes have been cast aside for better, shinier DVD. But your memories don't have to fade away, and that's exactly what will happen to them if you leave them on VHS tape. The quality will degrade over time till there's nothing left to see. Don't despair though. Get rid of your VHS tapes and give them a digital makeover. There are a number of different ways to convert VHS to DVD, but all methods have one thing in common. You'll need one of these cables to connect various outputs to various inputs. You'll most likely have a SCART output on your VCR. In that case, you'll need an adapter to convert SCART connection to composite. Now all that's out of the way, let's get down to business. The easiest, cheapest and quickest way to transfer a VHS tape onto DVD is to connect a VCR player straight into a DVD writer, which pretty much works in the same way as a VCR. This will basically copy a tape to DVD in real time. If it's flexibility and creativity you're after, then you need to transfer your analogue footage to a PC. One easy way is to use a DV camcorder. Connect a VCR up to one end and a PC via FireWire to the other. Not all computers come with a FireWire port, so check if yours has one first. And if you don't have a camcorder, you can invest in one of these, an analogue to DV converter. Now you need editing software in order to capture the video. There are hundreds of editing applications to choose from professional to novice, so choose wisely. Once the capture's done and you've edited your video to your satisfaction, you can now burn your masterpiece onto a DVD. You'll realise your footage is quite big in size, approximately 1 gigabyte per every 5 minutes. So you might start to wonder how on earth you're going to fit all of that onto one 4.5 gigabyte DVD. Well, DVD authoring software will compress your footage for you, which means you can fit hours of video onto one disc, along with a nice menu screen. Now, if all that sounds really laborious, then using one of these gadgets might be the way to go. This video transfer device will encode the footage on the fly, and you don't need a PC to record the footage on, so it's great for people who don't have a VHS player in the same room as the computer. Now you can do whatever you want with your video. Put it onto your portable player, keep it on your PC, or burn it onto a DVD. So that was our essential guide to moving your analogue footage into the digital age. If you missed anything, all the information we've just covered is on our website. The address coming up shortly.
And if there's anything that you would like more info on, let us know. Email click@bbc.co.uk and we would be delighted to put together a Click Essentials just for you.
Plenty more still to come on Click in Taiwan. A race round the tech hypermarkets to see what unusual kit we can pick up. And Kate has some more sites for your surfing pleasure in Webscape. Taipei, Taiwan. 24-hour, hard-working, industrious. Just like other Asian techno-cities, the neon turns night into day, lighting the way for the busy traffic, and locals shopping late into the evening. It's well known that Asia really embraces new technology, and you don't have to look far to find some stuff in common use here that the West is still only dabbling in. Sure, you can watch Sex and the City in the back of your cab. You can even sing karaoke, or KTV as it's known here, on the way. Live mobile digital TV has been much more successful in the East than in the West. The devices are popular, cheap and readily available. And just like Japan and South Korea, there's definitely innovation for innovation's sake here.
Smelly laptops. Yeah, Smelly laptops. As they warm up, they start to emit perfume. No, I don't know why either.
But Taiwan isn't overrun with madcap ideas. The island that brought us cheap tech manufacturing is, perhaps unsurprisingly, a practical place.
All over Southeast Asia, you'll find electronics hypermarkets like this one, selling everything from mouse mats to motherboards. Hello.
It's the same layout each time. Floors and floors of tiny stalls stocking cameras, music players, accessories, laptops and desktops. They'll build them for you if you want, or they'll sell you all the bits you'd need to do it yourself. These places are havens for tinkerers, places selling components that would only be found in specialist shops or by mail order in the West.
Now, the PC modders amongst you will know that there are all kinds of crazy cases which you can buy to house your motherboard and hard drives. But if you can't find a case which suits your tastes, why not buy some strips of metal and build your own from scratch?
You buy the individual metal struts and joints and then make whatever shape you fancy. You can have a computer in the form of a tank, a robot, or, you can have a spice rack. And if modding the cases isn't down and dirty enough for you, you can work at an even lower level by building and testing your own kit from the ground up. Resistors, chips and weird connectors I've never seen before. Raw electronics proudly displayed on the main shopping thoroughfare, along with the tools to build your own circuit boards from scratch.
Welcome to the shop which sells the machines which control the pressure of the glue which sticks the chips to the motherboard.
And as well as building anything you want, you can package it any way you want too. In fact, there's very little to stop you copying someone else's design. These look familiar to you?
You can get this iPod Nano for 5,800 new Taiwanese dollars, about 180 US. Or you can have this one for less than a quarter of the price. Just don't tell Steve.
It does look like one of Mr. Jobs' creations, until you notice the USB port. More convenient than the proprietary Apple connector you'd find on the genuine article. Just don't expect this one to sync with iTunes. All cheap, all fake, but more than likely all made just down the road from the factory which makes the real ones.
Right, time to take a break from all this high-tech tomfoolery now and cross back to London, where Kate Russell has been waiting up, ready with her webscape. God, I wonder what time it is there now.
Colours have a big influence on people. You might not realise it, but colours can affect your appetite, mood and energy levels. And advertisers, marketers and designers spend a lot of time and money devising new palettes to appeal. Colourlovers.com is an online resource where you can find inspiration and talk openly about your love of colours with like-minded people. Whether you're designing your own blog or website, considering redecorating your home, or are a professional in need of a little inspiration, there are literally hundreds of colour palettes and patterns for you to view and download here. Use the tabs across the top to navigate this slick-looking site. The Trends tab is interesting as it picks up on current trends in magazine and website design, which could help you keep up to date and have your design work looking 100% in style. And if you're the creative type, you can even add your own colours and palettes to the database. Like this one here, I've added myself. Click Pink. Next up, a bit of utter silliness. I have no idea what inspired the makers of this website to do so, but one thing I do know for sure is that you should definitely not try this at home. Will it blend? The basis of this website is exactly that. Will stuff blend? By that we mean what will happen to it if you put it in a blender and hit the on button. We're not talking oranges and whipped cream here, we know they blend. But how about a Rubik's Cube, a sports ball, or even an iPhone? Crazy but true, these guys have blended them all, and I watched the videos with nail-biting suspense. I particularly like the glow sticks blend for a bit of fun in the dark drama. There is actually a try this at home section too for safe blends like making chicken soup and grinding your own coffee beans. It's a bizarre collection of videos that I find strangely appealing. It never ceases to amaze me what you can find on the internet. Well, it is a truly global tool where freedom of speech and expression reigns supreme. Or is it? At irrepressible.info, you can find out about Amnesty International's campaign to ensure that the World Wide Web remains a bastion of free speech and expression. Here they state that the internet is a new frontier in the struggle for human rights, claiming that governments, with the help of some of the biggest IT companies in the world, are cracking down on online freedom. It's a clean and simple website. It's up to you to make up your mind about what you read here. And if you choose to sign up and pledge your support, you'll be joining more than 80,000 people who've done the same. And finally, a little curiosity I found for your delectation. Have you ever heard about the theory that the brain can make sense of a passage of text with the letters all jumbled up, as long as the first and the last letters are in place? Here, take a look at this to see what I mean. Readingtest.sites.org is the URL, and you can read the classic bit of text that describes the theory here. You've probably seen it as a viral, as I think this one did the rounds about a year or so ago. Well, now some clever spark has created an engine where you can test out the theory on any site you like. Just plug the URL in the box provided and see how it works. Amazing. Most of the time. Bit T-dissient rock for twacking. And that, I'm afraid, dear viewer, is all I have time for today. There will be more pics from my bookmarks next time, and Spencer will have the address you need to find links to all the pages explored today in just a moment.
Thank you, Kate. And for details on all of those sites, ways to get in touch and everything from Click in Taiwan, check out our website, bbc.co.uk/click. And to watch us in previously unthinkably high quality, go to the iPlayer, bbc.co.uk/iPlayer. And if you're on the move and can only enjoy things that will fit in the palm of your hand, try the Click mobile site. The link, I hear you ask? Well, text CLICK to 81010 and we will send it to you. Each text will cost you between 10 and 15 pence. Your standard data charges will apply. And remember, if you don't have an internet-enabled mobile phone, it'll all be a huge waste of your time and mine. That's it from Taiwan. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.